Welcome back to our viewers in our podcast journey. Hope you all downloaded the app. If we haven't, please download. We're going to put the link in the description. Please download, start your wellness journey. Please share with your friends and family. And people who already downloaded and started their wellness journey, let us know your feedback through your reviews. And thank you for your valuable feedback and support. Our team is working hard to better the experience and also the added features. The last few podcasts, we've been talking about yoga and the benefits. We've been talking about meditation. We've been talking about breath work. We've been talking about asanas, yoga aiding the weight loss and bettering the sleep quality. This podcast, we're talking about family yoga, more precisely to do with the kids yoga. Can kids do yoga? Is it appropriate? Let's find out. Let's get into the nitty-gritty details of kids yoga with our yoga expert, Bhagyashree. Namaskara, Bhagyashree.
Namaskar.
Can kids do yoga? Is it appropriate?
Yes, it is very much appropriate. It's easy for kids to develop their yoga practices faster because their body is already flexible. So if I take my own example, I regret sometimes that I did not start my yoga journey early in my age or early in my childhood. Otherwise, my yoga journey right now would have been already very much fast forwarded.
It would have been well ahead, basically.
Well ahead, yes.
So you regret that not starting early?
Yes.
When it comes to weight training, when it comes to gyms, when it comes to other physical activities or taking the sports away, we're looking at 16 to 18. Is there a certain age? At what age can they start yoga?
Kids can start yoga at the age of 3 also.
3?
Yes.
Wow, at the age of 3. That's way too early.
Yeah. It is, it looks very early, but that is the correct time. When we talk about yoga, it's not only asanas that we make them to do. So at the age of 3, they start to learn about simple body movements, but with correct connectivity of their body. So that is the growing age for their body physically. So it's very easy for them to understand, okay, this is the correct connectivity. Their joints also get stronger at that age because that is a development.
There's a lot of molding happening at that age. And obviously, we're not looking at the advanced yoga. We're looking at very dialed down and very beginner level. I mean, obviously, you would only do certain poses and certain asanas, basically. So at the age of 3, obviously they're in the molding age, and then they should be starting as early as it should be. Obviously, we're looking at that 45-minute to an hour yoga practice for the general population, for the adults. Is there a time frame that kids should be doing it? Should it be more and should it be less? And then how often in a week should it be training?
How often kids can practice yoga every day? Frequently, yes. They can practice every day, and it's not recommended to make them practice every day, for an hour long practice. It's very hard for kids to sit at one place or concentrate at one practice for longer period. So we keep the classes max for till 15 to 20 minutes.
15 to 20 minutes.
Yes. After that, they lose their concentration.
All these classes are guided. I mean, it's got to be like a completely guided from an expert. Yeah. We've been talking about yoga and especially the main aspect being a pranayama and / breath work. Can kids practice breath work?
Yes. In fact, because their body complete system is very new, it's easy for their respiratory system to understand and absorb the correction of the breathing. Because the breath work is like you perform that, you let your breathing be in your own control. And kids are they like to learn new things. Their body is open to learn new things. So
the system is more responsive compared to the adults. They're more responsive. So the breath work is recommendable.
Yes.
And obviously it improves the immune system as the adults. It improves the immune system for the adults. Will it improve the immune system for the kids as well?
Yes, it will improve the immune system for them. It will improve their metabolic rate also, so that they can eat on time. If your kids are facing problems, that they are not feeling hungry, then you can make them do the breath work and the asana practice. Their body will come back into the neutral position.
Okay. Kids and meditation. Should kids be meditating? Is it advisable? And then I would like to know kids and meditation. How will they go together?
Definitely, we don't ask kids to sit at one place and concentrate on one point and just stay in that position for longer period. It's not advisable for kids. They won't do it. Basically, they will feel very much bored. But if you ask them to make some mantra chanting, because mantra chanting is a part of meditation, they like to do it because they create that sound from their vocal cords and it helps them clear the vocal cords also. So the pronunciation of the words also improves. Apart from that, they start to concentrate because they're creating the vibrations inside their brain. So the concentration automatically improves, and they like it. Like something is some sound is being created by themselves. They feel happy about it. They like it is again something that the yoga trainer need to make it a very fun way. So before making them understand the mantra chanting, you need to tell them like what is that mantra about. Tell them a nice story. Then they like to do that. Then they'll tell their own experience also. How do they feel? They always like the one-to-one interaction with their teacher.
Make it more interesting and engaging, basically.
Yeah.
Kids and advanced postures and advanced yoga, asanas, basically. What's your take on that? And I mean, would you throw some light on this?
It's very easy for kids to perform advanced asanas because their body is already very flexible. And what is advanced posture? Like you mold your body in a particular way or the particular asana, and you still be in the posture and breathe with it. So because their body is already flexible, it's easy for them to breathe and have a nice smile on their face.
They don't feel the discomfort, they don't feel that rigidness, basically.
Yes. So easy for them to do, and it's good to have that practice as a backup for any sports activity.
It's got to be guided. It's got to be programmed.
Has to be guided. Yoga can give you long-term injuries. So any posture, anything you teach anybody, be it kids or the adult, it has to be guided.
There's a lot of practice that has to be done. There's a lot of progress that has to be done, and there's a lot of guidance has to be done.
Yes.
So viewers, and I mean kids and yoga, it's beneficial, but at the same time, it's got to be guided. It's got to be practiced for a long time before you go and do the advanced asana. So that's one thing that I would like you to be mindful and careful when it comes to engaging your kids into yoga. What are the physical benefits?
There are multiple physical benefits. Like one option is like flexibility. They improve their flexibility, mobility of their joints, their body. Apart from that, they also improve their motor skills. They improve their motor skills. They improve the hand and eye coordination. They understand the coordination between the two different muscles of their body. Apart from that, they also improve their strength. So strength as in to improve their body posture overall. Yes. So they don't in future fall into having the rounded back. They don't fall into having the posture of rounded shoulders, slouch back. So they don't get into that because their body is already very well structured since the child.
So it improves the motor skills. Other than getting stronger and flexible and mobility, there's a lot of mobility increase. We're talking about motor skills. That will be very useful for people who want to be like a future athletes. Yes. Even generally, I mean, when we're talking about motor skills, there's a balance improvement, there is hand-eye coordination, and plus the posture. And I mean, when you're talking about posture, I mean, we're talking about the core as well.
Yes.
Getting a stronger
core strength. Yeah.
Nice. That's the physical benefits. Other than physical benefits, what else are we looking at?
Other than physical benefits, we'll talk about the mind. And when we talk about the mind for the kids, it's more about related to the emotions. So kids are either very hyperactive or they get very quiet, depending on the situations. It's very hard for them to understand how to balance their emotions because they don't see it. Yeah, unless they don't see it, their parents doing that. It's very hard for them to understand their own emotions, what's happening with their mind. Yeah. So body is like a physical substance. They know what's happening. They're moving their hands. They can see it. But with emotions, it keeps on changing. If they see any dream, the emotions change. So that way, the yoga helps them to balance their emotions. And also when I talk about mantra chanting, so that helps them to open their throat chakra, which helps them to express their feelings. So they know when to tell their parents what. So they have very nice coordination with their parents. They follow their parents. They create a very nice bond with the parents when they practice yoga, especially with the parents.
Obviously, the parent has to also follow that. And I mean, you can't. When it comes to parents, I mean, the kids look up to you. They follow you. Example. They're not going to listen to you. Obviously, they will listen to you, but they would probably do what you are doing. So it's a best practice for the adults or the parents to kind of do the practice along with them. So there's a family yoga. So when we're talking about regulating the emotions, I would like to bring up this topic. I mean, with the content when it comes to social media, when it comes to the OTT platforms, the way it's been glorified, the alcohol consumption, portraying of human relationships, smoking, drugs, killing, mafia, I'm sure, and I mean, the OTT platforms are responsible. The social medias are social media and the influencers are very responsible for kind of doing this. And then when it comes to young kids, when they're growing up, they're very naive. Uh, uh, as much as there's filters and regulations, you have phones and then the Netflixes and OTT platforms like Amazon's. A click of a button, you can be exposed to the wrong content which is unnecessary and not appropriate. And it's sad. I'm sure, and I mean, as a responsible adults and parents, as a society, we should be taking responsibility. But that's a bigger task. But as a parent or someone who you have a younger child with this problem of getting exposed to the wrong content unnecessarily, what can we do?
But it is very unfortunate that social media is taking up a lot of storage of the kids' mind, and it's very hard to make them understand that it is not correct. So, in that way, if you are making your child practice yoga since the beginning, if you try to make it very storytelling, when I tell about the storytelling as in telling them about their roots, telling them about Sanatan Dharma, or telling them about Ramayana, Gita, all the stories are there. When they know what the stories are filled with a lot of ethical knowledge, a lot of morals. So those morals are already put in your child's head, and then they know the correct way of living their life already. And the childhood memories are very strong. The way you mold their memories at that point of age.
All that behaviors, all that conditioning is happening. You know, I mean, there's a lot of ingraining and happening, instilling of discipline.
Right.
It's so the younger generation, the storytelling part, especially when it comes to yoga, there's a lot of storytelling part that's done by all the tutors out there. So it's basically connecting to the roots and knowing your culture. So with having that, and with the danger of getting exposed to the wrong content, there is. So how do we connect these two?
So at that point, when they already know the background of their existence, of their family, right, like their roots, then they know whether for example, the drugs are good for them or not.
Okay, so they get to decide what is good and what is
What
bad.
is good
I mean,
and
this
bad.
is I'm watching this, but I'm watching for the sake of watching it, but that should not affect me.
They already get the clarity whether they need it or
That's
not.
the wrong thing, or that's not something which I should be kind of getting engaged to or looking into.
Right. And also when we talked about the balancing emotions, so balancing emotions also helps them to quiet their mind down. So looking at the current generation, they are falling for the drugs and all these unnecessary substances.
They're making it, they're glorifying it, right? When you look at all the actors and the OTT, they just make it look so cool.
Yes.
And I mean, they make the bad guy look so cool. They make the smoking and drinking, and then it's very unfortunate.
It is. But understanding the factor that having the smoke or having the going ahead and having the drinks, it is basically people are doing to quiet down their mind again, so don't have the thoughts, and also get that feeling of the coolness. Right. Apart from that, if they know already how to quiet down their mind, how to quiet down their thoughts and focus, when the concentration is improved, you don't fall for such substances because you don't need it. Your body doesn't need it.
There's a lot of peer pressure. Basically, everyone's around me is doing it, so I might as well try it. That's the starting stage of smoking. They make it look so cool. Everyone's talking about it and they're glorifying it, and then you fall prey for that peer pressure, and your obviously your surroundings, and then your people around you, what they're doing, and then you fall prey for peer pressure. That's very unfortunate. But with this, we can balance it out, and then kind of choosing what's right and what's wrong at an early age. And obviously, there has to be a lot of bonding that can happen, and then there's a lot of right communication that can happen through the parenting, basically. And kids, yoga is the best thing. Connect, basically. I mean, if you want to spend time with family, going for walks, spending time with them, cycling, and plus yoga could be one of the great. There's a lot of physical benefit, and plus there's a lot of other benefits from it.
Also, with yoga, when we talk about yoga, it's more of emotions and the feelings. So that is why we say there's always a difference between if I'm practicing running with my friend, so we will be competing with each other. But if I'm practicing yoga with my friend, then there is more like we are emotionally attached. We will make sure that, okay, each of us are able to get into that posture. So this is how the parenting also can be developed. Your kids will be being careful about you. You will be careful about your kids. So that connection automatically improves. So yoga is about more feelings and emotions. It is away from the materialistic world. So that is where the bond gets very strong.
What are the, if you have to give me one or two simple tips for the kids to like yoga and engage in yoga and kind of continue their, like if you know, I mean, it's very hard, you know, I mean, especially for the teenagers. If they start early, well and good, but if they are in teenagers, what is that one or two tips, simple tips for them to start liking yoga and engaging in yoga?
If they are very small kids, I would always ask you to keep it a very storytelling session.
Storytelling session.
Yes. Do not restrict them. Listen to them. If they are coming up with their own ideas, listen to them. Practice with them also. But keep it a very storytelling platform, because nowadays kids always like to have the information behind whatever they are being asked to.
Obviously, the storytelling, it's
Yes.
the best thing, you know, I mean,
Right.
What happens in a storytelling? And I mean, if you're in a yoga class, what would you tell? Like, if as a tutor, if you're conducting a kids yoga session or a family yoga session, and you want to make it engaging, you want to make it interesting, what kind of stories do you tell?
Stories more like connected to, if they know about it, the background, the culture of the Vedas or maybe some Ramayana or the Gita. I can start giving them an option, giving them a story, right? Okay, we need to chant mantra Om. So why to chant mantra Om? So Om, we talk about the three parts of Om chanting. I start telling them about from where the came. So there was a Brahma Dev who is the creator of this planet. So whatever you see around, everything is being created by him, and we create this sound to worship him. We need to be very respectful about them. So the kids like it. Okay, whatever I am is because of something, and then
The roots. No, I mean, connecting to your roots, knowing your culture is one way for the younger generation to know about our culture. That's a good way. So that's one tip. Do you have any other tip that can get them to engage and like it?
engage in the yoga classes. Engagement in yoga classes would be, you can keep it as a very challenging yoga session for them, because kids like challenges. They like to move their body. Do not make them sit or get into the hatha yoga. Like, do not let them to do one yoga for a longer period, one posture for the longer period. Make them move around and ask them, keep questioning them. Are you feeling it? Are you not liking it? Do you feel your core now? So they like to have that question and answer session. So do not keep it a very disciplinary yoga class.
And I mean, you are like, obviously, you know, I mean, as much as discipline might sound boring, which is good for you on a longer run, but the kids, for them to understand it, can be a little challenge. So it has to be short, sweet, challenging and interesting storytelling, and then a lot of interactive session.
And
Basically.
slowly you can make it disciplinary.
Nice. So sleep. I would like to know more about if kids yoga or a kids engaging and practicing in yoga, will it help their sleep?
Yes, it does. Because when we say having the storytelling session with kids, we also make them understand how much it is important to sleep when it's night time. So usually kids they like to, like, when their father comes back home, they like to play with him, then they stay awake late night. Instead of that, when they know that knowledge behind, and they know early morning they have to go for the yoga session, then they make sure that, okay, I'll go to sleep right now, this is my time. So that discipline slowly gets inculcated in their body and the mind.
Basically, you know, I mean, when you're young or when you go to the school, and I mean, waking up early and going to the school and then preparing the multitasking, it is preparing for life, basically. And if you don't have a discipline early in your life, then there's you know, I mean, it's very hard to fall into that disciplined approach. So that's one thing. Okay. Thank you, Bhagyashree. You know, I mean, this podcast was fun, engaging, and to know that the kids can start as early as they can start at the age of 3, and then it's better to start early, you know, I mean, to have the disciplined approach, and the body is molding, and then if they want to be an athlete or even in general physical activity, They're developing the motor skills, which is the balance, the hand-eye coordination, and your core and your posture, basically. So that helps them in becoming a better athlete, better at their physical activity, manage their injuries, better their sleep quality. And there's a lot of, other than the physical benefits, there's a lot of other benefits which we talked about consuming the wrong content. So, and the bonding can happen, and obviously, especially when it comes to kids, I mean, they look up to their parents, and they follow their parents' footsteps. So, if you want your kids to benefit from yoga, and obviously you got to start, and then as a family, you got to engage in kids in yoga, family yoga. And then you I mean, that's the best, especially when the kids are growing up, they need your time. When they're growing up, you can go for walks, you can go for jogs, swimmings, and runs, and also engage in yoga, a family yoga session. It doesn't have to be an hour. It can be as quick as 15-20 minutes, doing some Surya Namaskars, engaging in family yoga, especially, I mean, as a parent, and I mean, your kids. If it allows you, take them to the yoga classes, practice them, start early, start slow, but make sure that there's a lot of guidance at hand. They're always guided, they're always under supervision until they can manage on their own. But in the early stages, and especially when it comes to any physical activity, as much as there are benefits, there are some cons as well if they're not guided, and I mean, they could get injured. So make sure that they're supervised, they're guided with an expert with the yoga classes. On that note, I would like to kind of say thank you to Bhagyashree, and thank you to our viewers for encouraging us. Please let us know how you found this podcast, and if there's any questions or queries you would like to ask, please put that in a comment section so our team can bring it up to our notice, and then we can cover more in detail about any future topics or any queries related to this topic, family yoga, more precisely kids yoga. Thank you, and please download the app, please spread the word, please share with your friends and family. As I said, the wellness it can't be postponed, it has to start today, it has to start small, and it doesn't have to be complex. It's as simple as doing your small walks, or even a few Surya Namaskars and breath work, and then doing a bit of reading. It's all comes down to being happy, healthy, and productive, and that's what our app does. So thank you, and if you have any feedback, do let us know through your comments and plus reviews in our app store. Thank you.